Good morning, class. Today we're going to be talking about the field identities so that you can justify your steps when you solve equations and know what those properties are. You know I have one you can justify 2 out of 3 steps correctly on the exit ticket. Well, let's begin. You are familiar with these terms: commutative, associative, identity, inverse, distributive. The one that might be new to you, actually the two of them, is the identity. The identity is giving you the result is the same. In addition, it is 0. In multiplication, it is 1. Well, then we talk about the inverse. The inverse gives you the result that is the identity. So when you add when you add the opposite, such as the opposite of 2 is -2, when you add those, you get 0. It's the opposite. But in multiplication, we have the reciprocal, such as 4. The reciprocal would be 1/4. And don't forget, distribute again means to pass out. So what we want to do here is we want to identify the property that is being used for each equation. So I'm going to give you a little time in between each one. You need to go ahead and write the answer down, and then I will answer it for you. So A. There again, I want to look at what's on the left and what's on the right and what's different about them. Well, you should see that the 3x and the 4y change positions, so that's your commutative property. Now B. I can see my parentheses changed, and that's changing grouping, so that's the associative property. And then C. Well, the only thing that is different is that you have y and you have 1y. Well, that's your identity of multiplication. Now this looks like the distributive property backwards, so we call it distributive. And in E, we change the grouping. So again, that is your associative property. Looking at F, name the property. Well, we changed the grouping of things, so that's the commutative property. In G, well, it's 6 plus -6. Those are opposites, so that is your identity. Sorry, this is your inverse because they give you the identity 0. Okay? There again, you're multiplying 2 reciprocals here, and they give you the identity. So this is the inverse multiplication. You know I passed out that 5. That's your distributive property. And when you add 0 to a problem or to something, you get the same thing. So that is your identity of addition. You're adding 0. So again, the identity of multiplication is 1. So this is new to us. As we have these steps, how do we justify what is going on? What's the difference? So as I look at this, and I look at it on the left, and I look on the right, what's different? What changed? Well, you can see the 3 and the 2 are grouped together, so that's your associative property. Now, as I do these, I'm going from the top to the bottom. What's different from the top one to the next one? Well, it looks like the 12 and the 3 change places, so that's your commutative property. What did we do here? Again, this is going backwards. Instead of the multiplication that you normally see, you're taking out what's common, but it's still the distributive property. And looking down at the next one, what's different? That's the associative property. Notice this -x, that is -1x. So we pull that out, so we're multiplying those together first. Another same type of problem. Well, you've got B here, and you've got 1B there. What would that property be? That's your identity of multiplication. Now, what do we do in the next step? We rearrange things. That's your commutative property. What do we do here? Well, if we distribute, you would have what's on top. So again, that's distributing backwards, which is called factoring. And we'll be looking at that shortly. So we do it a third time. So how did it go to the left to the right? Okay, the next thing is an exit ticket. I will be giving you a piece of paper, and you will be writing the 3 problems down here. After you've answered these 3 questions, you will then be going to IXL and working on H1. Again, a completion grade is to have at least 70% of this done to get a SMART score of 70. And that would be our work for the second period.